So the answer is yes. That's the simple answer. So let's dive in a little bit and see how it makes you sick and how the body deals with stress or doesn't deal with stress very well. So what is stress? Well, stress is a normal part of life. Pressure in a way, things that cause us to have to think on our feet quickly, deal with difficult emotional situations, pressure of finances at work, relationship challenges, etc. These are just natural parts of life, but they are stressful because they bring about fear of loss or some kind of threat. So really the issue is around internal safety within our being, within our body. All of these things are perfectly okay, provided that they are short term and that the kind of energy, if you will, of that event is allowed to flow through the body and to complete. If, however, the stress is there for a very protracted period of time, then we might call that chronic stress. Or if from some past traumatic event, this has caused our body to have a sort of hypervigilant reaction and an over-the-top reaction to a stressful event, that might mean that we don't process this very well within the body, and so that energy just stays stuck and that causes disease. So let's look at what the effects of the nervous system are at a biological level. So when we activate a fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, as we call it, then that will actually mobilize the inflammatory system and also the immune system. So we'll start to activate T lymphocytes in the immune system to produce an immune response. We will also increase the inflammatory cytokines within the body, chemicals which are associated with generating inflammation in the body. The reason that we do this is, we assume, probably primitive, insofar as we believe that if we're going to have to run away from a physical threat, we might become injured, we might get a cut and so get an infection, we might injure ourselves and so need to inflame a tissue. So it's actually saying there's a threat, we're going to respond to that, and we may need a repair process because of that threat. Again, absolutely fine if that's a short-term thing, and then we come back into a regulated state, the body goes, all is well, and then we reabsorb those chemicals in the body and everything is fine. But again, if that is a chronic stress, we end up with high levels of inflammatory cytokines in the body and also a very activated immune system in the body for a long period of time. And this can then confuse the immune system, and we start to get autoimmune diseases, of which there are thousands. Many of you know that part of my journey was healing from an autoimmune disease called pericarditis, which took me several years to figure out how to really heal from that. But of course, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, all of these things are really autoimmune diseases, which in my experience are often rooted in chronic stress, or would be a stress illness. So it's not so much that we have a stressful life, it's more about how our body processes the stress of life. Again, chronic inflammatory conditions and potentially lupus, arthritic conditions, chronic inflammatory bowel disease, somebody who's getting joints that are randomly and tendons that are sort of being very prone to inflaming for no traumatic reason, no physical injury, again is a red flag to me that there may be something going on within the nervous system that's really causing this chronic inflammatory pattern that we're seeing. So the long and short is, there is no question that stress and chronic stress can cause illness, and there's a lot of scientific evidence for that now and a good sound understanding. But the good news is that we can do something about it. And in another video, we'll talk about some of the ways in which we can deal with chronic stress to try to create wellness.